This is Kairos TV with City Reachers for the Love of San Antonio. Just welcome you again. I hope you enjoy listening to us and watching what we're doing. We here today in this studio, I've got Harold Teague with me. And Harold is leading the San Antonio Christian Leaders Forum, and that's what we're particularly going to be talking about today. And so this is such an exciting thing because, you know, we've been praying forever in this city. What 20 years praying in this city for a move of God and for something incredible to take place. And, you know, I believe God is, by His Spirit, being so good to us. He is moving in the church. He is bringing more collaboration. He is bringing more of a sensitivity amongst the churches that we need to work together. And the outcome has been 3 years ago, isn't it wonderful, Harold? Mm-hmm. 3 years ago, we saw the San Antonio Christian Leaders Forum. It's come into being, and Harold, just to introduce yourself to our audience here.
All right, I'm Harold Teague, and I'm the director of the San Antonio Christian Leaders Forum.
Yes.
It's my privilege to lead about 60, 70 nonprofits and businesses and churches in this organization.
And it's just a privilege for us, isn't
Absolutely.
it? It is, and it's an incredible undertaking to think that we've gathered these kinds of people and they are willing to work together. Just imagine, this ministry was longing all the time to see a move of God which would impact all society. That's a huge undertaking, and it's just a big statement. But how on earth is it ever going to happen? Well, the vision and the ministry, the teaching, the understanding of the 7 mountains, or 7 spheres of influence, which are in all societies. Like we've got the arts and the entertainment, we've got government, we've got business, we've got education, we've got family, we've got church, what am I missing? Media. And so we've got these pillars of our society, and each one of those is represented in the San Antonio Christian Leaders Forum. And it began by just a desire to see an impact in our city where we make inroads into each one of these spheres, because frankly, people sit in church on Sundays who work Monday to Friday in these spheres, and they are the catalyst. They are the people who can transform our society if only they could be mobilized and understand, yes, I've got a ministry, I've got a mission, and if they could see our city as the mission field, and as they go forward day by day in their place of work, they could be catalytic people.
Absolutely.
Who could transform San Antonio.
Right.
And you know what we're really saying is we're going to bring the kingdom of God here. We're bringing God's kingdom. Jesus prayed, remember, let the will of God be done on earth as it is done in heaven. And I believe that that's what's going to take place, the will of God, which is His kingdom, advancing here in this city, and it's happening in San Antonio. Precious ones, as you watch today, Harold is going to tell you some of the things which are going on. They're exciting.
Let me share with you just a little bit. Your comment sparked interest in me, and a reminder that David Hunter, who is an author and a philosopher, wrote a book to change the world.
Yes.
And it's a philosophy book, but primarily it's divided into 3 sections. And the last essay of the book talks about Christians must be a faithful presence of Christ in 3 areas of their life: in their family, in their business, and in their highest level of influence. Whatever society has, their highest level of influence. Some serve on school boards, some serve on nonprofit boards, some serve in church, but to be a faithful presence of Christ in all those 3 spheres of a person's life: their family life, their business life, or their work life, and their highest level of influence. And that's what we're trying to do here at the San Antonio Christian Leaders Forum, and that is to spur Christians to be a faithful presence and a representative of Christ in their business, in their work field, and in their highest level of influence.
I think that's such a beautiful way in which that was put. That is so clear, because actually each one of these spheres it does represent exactly what you've said.
Absolutely.
It does.
Yes.
And so we have organised over these years in these 7 spheres.
We do. We have, for example, in the arts and entertainment business, we have arts and entertainment sphere.
Yeah.
We have Christians that have gathered from nonprofits and from movie producers to theater, to artists, visual artists, as well as to musical artists who have created interesting opportunities of ministry throughout the city. San Antonio was home for a number of years for the largest Christian Worldview Film Festival. And we helped spur that on and help create and stimulate the growth of that particular organization. In the area of business, for example, we have business leaders who are mentoring other business leaders, going into businesses and doing one-on-one mentoring with individuals' lives and seeing dramatic changes and shifts of paradigms and practices. And we've seen marriages healed. We've seen families start to attend church again. We've seen people get their budgets organized well. And
this is among business people.
This is among the business people.
And,
that's
and
exactly
senior
right.
people.
These are Christian leaders in businesses.
Wow.
Yeah, a tremendous ministry is going on in our Christian businessmen ministry area. We have prayer groups. The mayor of San Antonio has identified 13 community impact centers. Those are primarily areas where, Elaine, that interstates cross each other. We're in one right here, where
Yes.
I-10 crosses 410. Those areas are high concentrations of businesses and where people live and where people work. And there are 13 here in our city, and our goal for 2020 was to have 6 prayer groups in 6 of those areas. Well, we already have 8 prayer groups.
And we're here with a prayer group too.
That's exactly right. That's
Yes.
exactly right. It's one of them.
Yes.
So that's very, very important. In the area of church, San Antonio, Barry County, has 2.4 million population, a population of 2.4 million. 83% of those, Aline, are unevangelized individuals.
Wow.
They do not attend an evangelistic church. And so that's 1.7 of the 2.4 million. The mayor of San Antonio, in fact, the city is growing at a rapid rate. They are anticipating 1.1 million new residents, 500,000 jobs by 2040 in our city. So when you add the 1.1 million to the 2.4 million in the area, you're looking at a 3.5 million, 3.5 million population.
Okay.
If we put in that 1.7 million, if we put 500 people, and we had enough churches to put 500 people in each church, we would need 4,000 new churches.
And that's quite a big church, 500.
500 in this city is a very large
Yes.
church. Because in this city, in this culture,
Yeah.
churches are primarily small.
They are.
So so we have a drastic need for new churches
Yes.
in this city.
And that's sort of a subject which is not talked about too much. Churches are not looking to do church planting,
That's
usually
right.
just church growth. Yeah. But actually, what we really need, when you look at those figures, we desperately need church planting.
Absolutely, we do. And we need pastors to begin calling out the people in their church who God has already ordained and has already set aside, or who is being called to serve as a pastor.
I'm probably sitting there frustrated.
Sitting there frustrated,
Yeah.
or twiddling the thumbs,
Yes.
or not actually ministering at a level in which they're capable of living, and God has called them to live,
Yes.
to minister. So we're looking at. In fact, there is right now a church planting movement underway in our city. House churches are being built this year already. We've seen the creation of at least 8 new house churches this year already.
That's in
This
these
is
few
in
weeks. Yes,
3
yes.
months.
Yeah, that's
So 8
amazing.
new. Our goal is 150 house churches a year, and our goal is 50 traditional churches with property and
Wow.
per year. So we have churches that are working with us to stimulate the reproduction of reproducing churches. So that's very exciting. In the area of education, one of the most exciting things that if you look at what does it take to transform the educational sphere of society, you want a well-rounded approach. So we're looking at school board training. We're looking at mentoring children in reading skills in grades 1 through 3. We're looking at mentoring middle school and high school students one-on-one. We're looking at helping parents raise highly successful children and teaching parents how to raise highly successful children. All those areas have teams that are excited about their work and their jobs, of what they're doing, of ministering in the area. Now what that means is a variety of nonprofits are coming together for each one of those targets, and a variety of businesses are helping out in those areas.
Yeah.
So
perhaps you could just tell our viewers here exactly what we need in order to see that go forward.
Well, we need, and thank you for asking, we need people who are Christians in their churches, who are mature believers, who would feel God is calling them to serve on a school board, to step up and to respond and say we have a training program that begins in May the 6th, that we will give training to those individuals who feel God is calling them to serve on a school board.
Now, if they wanted to answer that call, what would they do? How could they?
They would contact us here at the office,
yes.
And our phone number is?
Our phone number is, I don't know what our phone number here is. Okay.
And I don't either.
No.
We'll get that information shortly.
We will indeed. And also we need, which website would?
Well, I believe it's saclf.org.
And they would go to that website, because that's where they should really,
yes,
they should go to that website to sign up to get involved with becoming a person who wants to be involved with
the school
boards.
School board.
That would be so helpful.
Actually, that website is saclf at cityreachers.net. Okay. SACLF at cityreachers.net.
Okay, so
in the area of helping parents, in training parents, they need to also contact that information. Contact us here at that website. But we're trying to get local churches to create teams to work with an individual elementary school.
Yes.
In 3 school districts right now, we have school districts that have said we need a total of 155 schools that are needing that particular, that are wanting that particular training from Christians to help parents learn how to parent the children.
That is huge.
That's incredible.
And did you hear that? Viewers, did you hear that?
155 schools.
That's going to take a lot of response from the churches to meet that need.
It really will. It really will. But also in the area of mentoring middle school and high school students one-on-one. Let's look at that. Let's look at the subject of mentoring a high school or a middle school student. What impact can an adult have on a high school or middle school student if they spend 1 hour a week with a student? Let me show you what the research shows.
Yes.
The research shows that 98% of students that are mentored stay in school.
Wow.
98%. The research also shows that 85% of the students who have a mentor do not use drugs. 85%. It also shows that 98% do not avoid teen pregnancy. 98% avoid teen pregnancy. It also shows that 98% avoid gang activity. So they stay out of gangs. It also, 52% of the students are less likely to skip a day in school. 52%. And 59% of the students, their grades increase.
Praise God.
By the addition of an adult, particularly a Christian adult, working with a child in the local school setting on a one-on-one basis.
The long run, that will change their family life.
Absolutely will.
And their future. Just
for generations.
For generations.
For generations.
What a gift. I just want to appeal to people who are watching this that truly we need those who would lovingly give an hour a week just to mentor a child. And if you felt able to do that, you know, Youth for Christ are looking for you. And there's other organizations within this city which are looking for you just to help out, give 1 hour a week.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, let's talk about the area of family,
Yes.
for example.
Yes.
In the area of family, we have organizations that are working with San Antonio Christian Leader Forum who are promoting within the churches a culture of where the church helps support families that said that we will adopt children and we will foster care for children.
Yes.
So they come around with a safety net to those. And so right now, Aline, last year, 91 Christian families out of churches said that they, have already started the adoption process.
Okay.
91 families have already started the adoption process.
91 children going to be happy.
Yes, or perhaps even if they have a brother or sister, then, you know, it could be more than that.
Yes.
But just think about the impact that a Christian family would have on a foster care child. Let's think about the impact of a foster care child. Are you aware that right now there are 2,200 children in the foster care system here in San Antonio area? It's not necessarily Bexar County, but it's a little bit broader area than that, but 2,230 something children. Of the children who are in the foster care system on a national basis, 75% will have experienced sexual abuse before they leave the foster care system.
Dear Lord.
75%.
That's horrific.
It is. But 76% of the children will end up human trafficked.
That's unbelievable. What tragedy for their lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 76%, 40% of the foster care children become homeless. 40%, and then 30% end up in the juvenile court system. Can you imagine the impact that a Christian family would have on fostering children, and that they could help stop that type of abuse?
Well, Father, please provide.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Please provide.
Please provide.
And it may not be that you could foster a child, but it could be that you could support a family who does foster a child.
Yeah, and they do need support because
Absolutely.
sometimes these situations can be exceptionally challenging.
They do. Some families need financial support.
Yeah.
Some families need emotional support, so you could befriend them. Some families need babysitting support.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of support that a foster care family could need, and the Christian community could come around and wrap their arms of love around them.
Yeah.
You know, that reminds me, there was an old boy in the first century by the name of James. James was the brother of Jesus.
Yes.
And he wrote a little epistle back in the day, and he said that true religion is found in those who take care of the children, the orphans, and the widows. Early on in the early church, the church found itself helping widows and helping orphans. In fact, did you know, Elaine, that by 350 AD, 56.7% of the Roman Empire were Christians.
Yeah.
56.7%.
That's an amazing number.
That's amazing.
Because the light did shine.
And it did shine. And how it shined was the church actually took the words of Jesus and applied it to their life.
That's right. That's right.
In other words, they took care of the orphans.
Yes.
They took care of the sick.
Yes.
They took care of those individuals. They gave value to women.
Yes.
Women became a valuable person. They didn't abort their babies.
No.
They took care of the sick. So the early church actually practiced what Jesus said to do. Wouldn't it be wonderful if the church was known today for practicing what Jesus taught?
Well, Howell, we'll get near to the end of our program here, so where are we going to go in the future? I know you've got much more you could tell us.
Absolutely, we
You
could.
have, yes. And where are we going to go in the future?
The future is as bright as a shining light. We were told just this week, we were told that by a fellow by the name of Lance Waldow,
Yes.
that the San Antonio Christian Leaders Forum is the best example in the world of a city implementing the Seven Mountain Strategy.
Well, that's quite something, isn't
Wasn't
it?
that
because his
impressive?
experience is wide.
He knows what he's talking about.
Yes, he
He's
does
been
indeed.
around. He's been a teacher of the
Yes.
Seven Mountains
Yes.
for many years. He's been a proponent. He's gone all over the world
Yes.
to see the implementation. So we're grateful for that commendation. What we were looking for is additional people to come alongside and support ministries financially, but also support them with their participation, their
Yeah.
organizations, and help us transform this city for Christ.
Yes, yes. And I think that's exactly what we're calling upon our audience to come and help us to do this. As we begin to wrap this program up, I just would like to invite you to pray with us, because so many of these things that Howell has presented to us honestly need the participation of the church. And I want to call upon you. Come on, let's just pray. Let's just ask the Lord that he would stir the heart, the compassionate heart of the church to get involved with very, very real needs within our city, of families that are in crisis, of children in trouble, of the necessity to change the culture in our education system, in the family system, in the arts and entertainment, in every conceivable area. And then when you hear what's even been happening in the business area, which we think's got it all down fine, but even there, marriages have been being healed because somebody has taken time to spend some time
Yes.
with somebody. And it's just whatever place you find yourself in life, whatever level you could say, and you will find yourself in life, there's an opportunity for you to get involved with the hurting heart of San Antonio. And I want to invite you to volunteer your time, volunteer even your time to pray, but volunteer your time to help somebody else. Can we just pray? Father, I want to ask you that you would stir the compassionate heart of the church in the city of San Antonio, and that you would cause the people here within our city, Lord, to resonate with your heart.
Yes.
And to become involved with the things that you are involved. Father, to feel your heart concerning children in need, families in need, marriages in need. Lord, to feel the passionate beating of your heart for the lack of ability for people even to be built together in the church. Lord, for those who are overlooked in evangelism. Lord, to feel your heart, Father, concerning these things. And we ask you, Lord, that you would do miraculous work within this city, stirring up the people, Lord, that your will be done in this city. And we just want to thank you. You know, City Reaches, as I said earlier, is 20 years old. And we are celebrating 20 years. And this is quite a birthday for us. And we're asking you to come and join with us. April the 19th to the 21st, we've got some fantastic speakers for you. But it's not just a conference, it's a celebration. And I want to say it's a thank offering to God that we've been able to be here. And you know, some people might say we've been faithful, but I want to tell you that it's the Lord in his grace that has enabled us to be faithful. It's just a thank offering to the Lord, that his heart is being poured out here in the city of San Antonio, and that I just want to invite you to come and join us. We're going to have Dr. Barry Whistler here from Pennsylvania. He is a pastor of pastors and an amazing apostolic man who's got a huge network internationally, gathering people together for the purposes of God in many, many nations. They even have a school of ministry, of supernatural ministry there in Ephrata, so they've got these students coming from all over the world, and they are involved in learning how to pray for the sick and cast out devils, and all kinds of miraculous things are taking place amongst them. And then we have Robert Henderson, and some of you may have read that book about the courts of heaven, and that's an incredible understanding of how you and I, we're not just here pleading with God up there. God has invited us to be seated with him in heavenly places. And we are seated there in those courts, and we are dealing business within the courts of heaven. And we can, out from that place, make decrees upon the earth, and we can see our city transformed. And he's got such revelation. And then we have Chuck Pierce, who many of you already know, such an incredible prophet, who's been here in the city on a number of occasions and has encouraged us and enthused us and set us on fire. And I just want to invite you, come on, sign in. You can on our website. You can go there to our website and cityreachers.net, and you can find us there, and you can find this. Well, the Lord bless you, and I hope you've enjoyed this time with us today, and you can tune in again next week. Bless you.